Hello, it's Phil at Digital DJ Tips, looking at the Allen & Heath Xone K2 mixer and DJ controller. Now this item is immediately similar to the Traktor Kontrol X1. It's a slimline controller, it's lightweight, it's got a plastic chassis, however it's well built, just like the Traktor Kontrol X1. And it's the kind of controller that you would want to slot next to an existing DJ setup or use as your only controller, but the key point is it's small and it's slimline. It will slip next to a mixer in a club or slide in next to the record decks of the CD players and not take up very much room. These kind of controllers are a pretty new concept, although the Traktor Kontrol X1 has been around for a year or two now, but this is Allen & Heath's take on it. In fact, Allen & Heath's earlier devices that are a similar shape to this, which are also in the Xone range but are now a little bit outdated, the Xone 1D and 2D, are the same kind of thing, but they were heavier and deeper. They had a little jog wheel on them as well. But like the Traktor Kontrol X1, which I keep mentioning because they are similar, this unit doesn't have a jog wheel, deciding that for a lot of people, they've kind of decided jog wheels aren't necessary DJing electronic dance music and so on. Of course, you could use it alongside something which gives you jog wheel functionality. If you're a little confused about all these ways you could use this, it's kind of like the strength and the weakness of this unit and other units like this. They're designed for people who are just a little bit past beginner, who are starting to think of ways of building custom digital DJ setups. So for instance, you go into a DJ booth, you DJ at home on a DJ controller or with DJ software, you walk into a typical nightclub DJ booth and you know the CDJ's there, and a lot of people just bite the bullet and use CDJs, but a lot of digital DJs, especially nowadays, are saying, I don't want to change the way that I play just because there's only CD players or CDJs available to me where I go and play. I want a system that I can shoehorn into any DJ booth. Enter this kind of thing. This kind of thing is custom made for that kind of setup, because you take this and you take your laptop and you can DJ anywhere that you can squeeze those two things in. So let's have a look at this unit and the way it works and the kind of flexibility it gives you. Well, to start with, let's look at the build quality. As I've shown you, it's a thin device. It's got a plastic chassis, although this bottom bit is rubber. The feet are actually hard plastic and not rubber, which I didn't like. I prefer rubberized feet because they just sit better on unit tops and on on tabletops than plastic ones. But there you go. Around the front, there is a matrix of buttons here. There are 4 faders, and then there are the rest of what you would traditionally call lines. These would traditionally be lines to control channels on your software along here. The top controls are continuous rotary, which just go around forever, and they also click. It's 4 of those. These are normal pots, if you like. They just kind of stop there at 7 o'clock and 5 o'clock. No click in the middle. And then there are buttons here underneath each of the pots. And there's 2 rotaries at the bottom, 2 endless rotaries at the bottom as well, which also click. And then there's these 2 slightly bigger buttons. This one's labelled layer, and this one is labelled shift, although you can use them for whatever you want. It's a MIDI controller. It's sold as something that you can map to do what you want with. On the back of the unit is a audio out, because this has a built-in sound card, and also 2 X-Link connectors, which are basically a bit like Ethernet. It's like a network connector thing, which allows you to connect these things together, also to connect them to Allen & Heath's DB mixer series. And finally, there's a USB, of course, for connecting the thing to your computer, and it is USB powered. There's no external power supply on it. And at the front, there's just one tiny little 1/8 inch rather than 1/4 inch headphones socket. So obviously, nearly all headphones nowadays come with the ability to unscrew the 1/4 inch bit and turn them into 1/8 inch, and that just plugs in the front there to give you your headphones output. So sound card has got 4 out, or 2 stereo out, 2 on the back and 2 on the front. Okay then, so how would you use this thing? Well, a couple of obvious uses are to use it just with Traktor, like you would use the X1. And it comes with mappings for Traktor. There's an X1 emulator, so if you want to use this just in place of an X1, maybe you're used to using a Kontrol X1, you just want to see what it's all about, there's an emulator which you install as a Traktor mapping just by going to the tractor configuration and installing the mapping, and then setting the output routing for the audio, just like you would with any device. And there's also a sample decks mapping, so you can add this to, say, a DJ controller that can't control sample decks, a simple tractor controller. You can add this as a second controller and control tractor sample decks. Those are available on the Allen & Heath supplied CD, although they weren't on my CD for some reason, but also on the Allen & Heath website. Really good website supporting this device with lots of videos about different setups. So there's one way, just use it as a standard, if slimline, tractor controller in a couple of various options. Also, it suits Ableton Live very well indeed. These can be controlled for Ableton Live channels, but there's a layer button which I'm going to tell you about in a second, so you can control far more than that. Also extremely good for virtual DJ. I actually mapped it to Algorithms DJ software. Algorithms DJ has a really easy MIDI mapping, so I just really quickly knocked up mappings. I used these controls here for the pitch controls and these for the volumes, and then just I mapped my EQs up here. It was really easy to see how you could then continue the mapping given a day or two to really work at it, come up with something really nice. But you could also use it for controlling lighting, MIDI lighting. It's got MIDI send and receive, so anything that can send and receive MIDI was going to work fine with this. Now that takes me on to the next bit, the MIDI send and receive. Now this can receive MIDI, which will allow you to light up the buttons in various ways. And there's actually 3 layers on this. Now this is a layer button, and what this does is switch all the controls as if they were a new set of controls. So you can set it to amber, red or green. All these controls then, whether they're on or off, will be amber, red or green. So layer 1 will be, say, red, layer 2 amber, layer 3 green. And then depending on which layer you're on, you can control completely different things. So imagine 3 of these next to each other. It's like you're switching between them. So for instance, you could control 12 different music sources in Ableton. You could switch from controlling your decks to controlling effects to controlling samples. It really is up to you how you program this thing. But the layering is really clever as well, because layering doesn't only just switch everything, you can set it so it only switches this section. So you could have 4 deck control going on here, just controlling 4 normal decks like any other controller would, but switch these buttons into controlling 3 completely different things: samples, loops, cue points. Or there's a middle ground between the whole lot and just these, and that is switching in these top controllers, which of course they're 4 rotaries that click, so these are made for controlling effects, you know, they suggest effect use. Switching these and these as well, but leaving everything else as it is. So it's possible to set the unit layered in a way that suits you. The final point in what is really a very flexible little device is these X-Link bits on the back. You can use these to put 2 of these units together and then have 1 USB coming out of the back into your computer. Now if you use a MacBook like I do, MacBooks have only got 2 USBs, well that model has anyway. So if you're using 1 or 2 of these, you could easily use all your USBs up. Now if you're USBing other stuff into your setup as well, that's a problem. But this kind of acts like a bit of a hub or a master and slave, so you can get 2 of these working together. But more than that, if you want to use a couple of these alongside a Xone DB2 or DB4 mixer, 1 on each side, you can X-Link the lot together, and what that gives you is no USBs at all, and then you can use the sound card in this thing. In that instance, the sound cards in these wouldn't be used. Sound card in this thing, 1 USB from the mixer to your computer, and there you have your setup. While we're putting this next to a mixer, let me show you the case. This comes with a case like this. It's a hard case, fits the thing perfectly, but it's hard as in the inside is foam, is hard foam. Now that's really good because it means that you can put it next to not only the Xone mixer, any mixer, most mixers are deeper than that, as are decks and CDJs. You put it next to your CDJs and clip the thing in, and you can see that your stand then doubles up as a stand, your case doubles up as a stand, keeps it all at the same height. As you can tell, I'm quite enthused about this. I think this is a thinking DJ's device. If you're past beginner, if you're not a beginner and you're not just expected to plug it in and use it to do everything with, and you're the kind of DJ that thinks, you know, jog wheels are becoming optional for me, and tack onto that you're going to be playing in DJ booths where either you know there's not enough room for a full setup, or you're not sure, so you're touring, and you know, you can throw it into your bag and jump on a plane with it, no problem. All of these kind of uses, all of these kind of DJs suggest a controller like this. And people who are already using the Traktor Control X1 for this kind of thing will know exactly what I'm talking about. But also, you know, unlike the X1, it's a little bit more independent of software. The X1 is labelled up and made to work with Traktor. This can do that too, but it's also good with Ableton Live, and Virtual DJ, Mixed Vibes, and as I've said, even for controlling lighting and stuff like that. So there you have it, the Xone K2 DJ controller and audio interface. There's an even longer review of this unit on the Digital DJ Tips blog at digitaldjtips.com/K2. Thank you for watching.